Grace be unto you and peace from God our Father and from the Lord Jesus Christ. I was glad when they said to me, "Let us go into the house of the Lord." I'm Father Steve Sellers, and thank you so much for tuning in today for this brief daily message of hope. I was reading a couple of days ago from one of my favorite all-time biographies, a biography of St. Anthony of the Desert, St. Anthony of Egypt. One of the first Christian monastics in the 3rd century. And it was written by another saint, St. Athanasius, the Bishop of Alexandria in Egypt. And St. Athanasius got to spend time with St. Anthony in the desert. And there's a story that is told about St. Anthony, who was at prayer one night in his little cell and was doing spiritual battle. You know, people used to come to see Anthony, and they would hear loud noises out in the middle of the desert coming from St. Anthony's cell, where he would be doing spiritual warfare with the evil one. And the story is told that Satan came up with a new attack on St. Anthony and appeared to him in his cell late at night, disguised as the Archangel Gabriel, and appeared in the cell with splendor and power and light. And St. Anthony hid his head, turned his head away, wouldn't even look at the sight. And Satan said, "I am Gabriel." And Anthony just turned his head away. And he said, the evil one said again, "I am Gabriel appearing to you." And Anthony turned his head aside and said, "I'm not worthy that the great archangel should appear to me." And with that humility, Satan was unmasked, and Anthony had victory over him in the desert through having a humble heart. Now, humility is encouraged by everyone in our faith to have better opinions of others, to look for the good in other people, and don't spend all of our time praising ourselves and looking to our own benefit. You know, I remember reading a newspaper story back when I was a young history student. This was during World War II, and the heavyweight boxing champion of the world, Joe Louis, was making a PR appearance. Now, Louis was a private in the U.S. Army. He had enlisted and was drafted, and he served his country by going on promotional tours and bringing hope and kindness to others. And Joe Louis went to an inner city technical high school in Detroit, where young men and women were working with their hands, building things, little machines, little gadgets that were going to be used in the war effort. And Joe Louis was very impressed. And the newspaper reporters were covering him, and they said, "Hey, champ, what do you think of what they're doing here?" And Joe Louis just shook his head and said, "I am so impressed with these young men and women." And he held up his hands and said, "I always wished that I could have done something with my hands." Those hands brought him the heavyweight championship of the world. But Joe's opinion of himself was a humble opinion, looking for the good in others. You know, the fact is, we are encouraged to be humble. It's the opposite of being prideful. As a matter of fact, Jesus commends it to us. St. Peter, in his first letter in chapter 5, says this in verse 5b, "All of you, clothe yourselves with humility toward one another, because God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that your brothers throughout the world are undergoing the same state of suffering. It is humility that's commended to us. We can approach to that not by beating ourselves up, but by proclaiming and thinking and pondering the greatness and goodness of the Lord. He is, in his great and exalted and mighty estate, there with you right now, wherever you are. He's here with me. He loves us and he humbles himself to come to us. And we're called upon to humble ourselves so that we can lift up others who are around us who need help. God bless you, and I hope you have a wonderful day today, and I hope to see you here again tomorrow.